Welcome to Scrappin with Sheri. This month I have been a part of a couple of different sketch challenges, and that's just where different advisors post sketches and you can complete them each day for a chance to win prizes or just to get your albums completed. And I have so much fun with those, but I found that a lot of people don't like the sketches. Maybe it's because they don't have the measurements on them or you can't envision where you're going with the sketch. I'm not sure why, but I love the sketches. And one that came across my desk today from Advisor Nicole So was this particular sketch. And I have seen several different interpretations of it, but I thought I might show you how I go about creating a sketch from a sketch challenge. How do I start this? Well, obviously the first thing I'm going to do is pick out pictures. Now, this is a one-pager. It's not a two-page spread, but most things I do are double spread. And in order to do this as a double spread, I'm pretty much going to mirror side to side what I'm doing. Now, obviously, you've got a picture here and you've got two photos here. Don't get too locked into how many photos they show on a page or even the sizing, because this is your album. You can do it however you want to do it. But I went ahead and pulled out some pictures. And one of the first things I do, let's move these papers I had pulled out, is I grab my pictures and I just start laying them out to see what I know I'm going to use. Now, obviously, according to the sketch, there are two smaller pictures here. I don't have any that I'm going to cut that small, but I did come up with 4 that are 4x6 that I could do a little bit of cropping on. So I think I can make this idea work for this particular sketch. We'll see, won't we? So the first thing I do is kind of spread my pictures out. I am using my 13-inch mats, and I've got those taped together because that mimics a double spread. And then I started looking for paper colors. Now, I really wanted to pull out this peach in my granddaughter's little outfit, and I was having the hardest time finding a peach color until I started looking at this Totally Tonal pumpkin. Now, I don't know about you, but when I look at the Totally Tonals, I immediately think, I'm just going to tell you this with this one, I immediately think, I don't really like orange that much. But when I opened it and started looking at it, there are some beautiful papers in here that have several different shades that aren't necessarily real orangey. I love this white with the little dots on it. I love dots anyway, and this with the multicolor dots was cute. The little starbursts on the back of this are really cute. So don't let the Totally Tonals turn you off. In fact, I've got several of them in my closet that I think I may go back and open up just to see what great papers are in them. And I was a part of a weekend scrapbooking thing. It was a virtual thing. And somebody used the Totally Tonals for a class on that. And I just thought, maybe I have overlooked them and maybe I shouldn't have. So when I pulled this pumpkin Totally Tonal out, I was pleasantly surprised. So I started looking at what papers I might want to use on this page in the Totally Tonals. And my first thought was, let's use this ombre for the background. And I do like the look of it. It brings out her orangey color, the peachy color, but I like the variations in the color on this. So I'm thinking that for the background. Now, if you look at this sketch, all that's showing on the background is this white right here. There's not a lot of background showing, but I'm okay to use this as a background, even though I know not much is going to show. So I've got that. I'm thinking this for my pictures. Now, this sketch has no measurements, but let's consider, if this is a 4x6 picture with a tiny little mat around it, this is probably about a 5x7 mat. Because here's the 4 inches of your picture, and this looks like maybe another inch wide, maybe 5.5 inches. So we might start by making a 5.5 inch mat there and see where it goes. Now, my thought for that was, I think I want to do the matting in some of this white with the little dots, because my pictures have a pretty good dark background, and I think the white is really going to make them pop. So let's go ahead and cut a 5.5 inch mat and just see what it looks like. You know, I used to be so scared of messing up a piece of paper, and I finally had to come to the realization that it really is just paper and it's okay. So I'm going to cut this as a 5x7, and we'll lay it out and see what it looks like. If I do that as a 5x7 here, now on this picture, it goes all the way up to the edge of the page, but then I can put that in there, add a thin mat around it, and that's pretty much done. Now, on this one, obviously, this picture is not going to lend itself to this little area right here, but I think I can do some cropping. I really loved the way she was sitting on her little tricycle sucking her thumb. So let's go ahead and crop that picture and see if we can get it in this area right here. Now I can crop right up next to her head here. And I am going to keep the width the same as the one above because this little mat is the same width. I didn't bring my garbage can over today. And I think I'm going to crop in right there because I can tell she's still on her tricycle. I can see her sucking that little thumb. And I like that. All right, and here where there were two photos, I'm going to stick with my one again. But look at the color here. We've got a light gray here, a light gray here. That means basically the designer used the same color for these two mats with some varying colors here. So I'm going to go back and cut another 5.5x7. Leaving me some scraps here that I will probably do something with. So we've got another 5.5x7 going on this side, and I'm going to take that all the way to the bottom corner. And let's go back and look at that sketch and see where we are. So here we've got another shade of color with some little strips, maybe a border here, a border maker cartridge perhaps. So let's play with that and see what we can come up with. Now I was thinking that I like these dots because they add in a lot of color, and I think I might like those for these blocks right here. Now remember, this one's going to have a photo on it, but I think what I'm going to do, we're going to stick with the 5.5-inch width. So let me just go ahead and cut that. So we've got the width that'll go there and there, but I don't really know how high I need it yet because I do want to put a border in here. Let's go ahead and make our border. That'll make it easier for us to know exactly what we need to put there. Now, I'm going to use a border maker cartridge, and I decided to use the little one. I think this one was called Jammies. Originally, it was called Onesie, but that apparently is trademarked. So they changed the name to Jammies, and I chose it just because that's what she's wearing here, and I don't get to use this cartridge a whole lot. And I thought that I might go back and do this in a blue to match her little blue jean shorts here. So the blue I chose for this is from one of the latest paper buffets. It's called Blue Orchid. And I just thought it was a pretty nice light blue. It kind of corresponds with her little shorties. If you don't have the border maker system or you don't know how to use it, there is a video about the border maker system that will kind of talk you step by step through that. This one I just kind of went quickly so I would get that finished and out of the way. And let's see what we can do with it. All right, so we've got this photo that's going there, this one that's going here. We're thinking we're going to add this here, but we need the little jammies to go through right there. And in a minute you'll see why I chose this particular color, but we need to cut this at 5.5 so it's the same length or the same width as our photo mats. So we'll need 2 of those for our sketch. So both of those at 5.5. Now let's go back and look at our sketch. We have mat here, mat here. We've got 2 little lengths of border. So now we can figure out how big we need to make this right here. And to do that, I'm going to use my 0 centering ruler, because I want this to kind of frame everything in right here. I like the look of the sketch. So I'm going 1, 2, 3, about 3 3/4 inches for this one. 3 3/4 inches. Now look at that. That's kind of pretty, isn't it? This one fades in a little bit more, but we're going to take that same look up to the top. So let's measure our space there. 1, 2, 3. And we've got about 3 3/4 there too, which would make sense considering everything else is the same. I should have thought about that. All right. So we've got a 3 3/4 there. Now, I don't know if you can see it the way I can, but I just feel like this is really coming together nicely. So our next step, according to our sketch, would be to mat our pictures in a pretty thin mat, something that's not really going to take away from a lot. Now, I think I'm going to do that in this same blue that I chose to make her onesies in. And I know some of you are thinking, orange and blue, those are very good colors to use together. Not necessarily my favorite colors to use together, but when my son went away to a rival college here in Alabama, it was kind of fun because I started using orange and blue for all of my stuff. Not something I ever thought I would do, but I have discovered I really like the look of it. So I'm going about 4 1/4. Whoop, wrong place. We'll just slide it down, do it again. 4 1/4 on my mats, because I'm going to need about 6 inches to mat those. And I am going to cut just a hair off those pictures so I can make the most of this paper. I don't have a lot of it because it was in that buffet, and I don't want to waste it just cutting a little bit off. I want to make sure that I can use the full 6 inches. And that just means trimming a little top or bottom off of those pictures. So these mats are ready. And let's see. This was my grandbaby in her daddy's socks. He was playing around with her and decided to put his socks on her for fun. And she thought that was just the greatest thing. So she had to come and show us. See, just by trimming a little bit, that gives me the perfect mat there. And I'm sticking this with regular tape. It may throw you off that my tape dispenser is yellow, but it was a specialty one at some point in time, and I don't have any blue ones currently because I've sold out. So now look what a difference that mat makes on that page. Let's pull out another mat and let's cut down this little picture. Now, I don't know if you can tell this about my baby or not, but she's a major thumb sucker. And when she's really tired or anything is different in her world, she sucks her thumb a little bit more. So at this particular time, she had several people visiting at her house, and I think it just kind of made her a little bit nervous maybe, or I don't know, maybe she's just really tired because of all the visitors that she had, but she was sucking that thumb a lot. Now, we need to do something to this one, and I don't necessarily want to add a blue to it because the dots are a little bit dark. So I think on that one, I'm going to go back and pick this little white dotted that we had before and just mat this little picture on that white dotted. That just makes that picture pop a little bit more. All right. Now, when we go back to the sketch, let's see where we are right now. We've got the 2 larger mats, and I did leave a little more room in the middle than the sketch shows. I could slide all this in a little bit and frame it out, and that would give me a little bit different look. could have a little more showing around the sides, which is kind of pretty too. So many options when you're a scrapbooker, huh? Okay, and I like this one matted with the white background because it really makes it pop on that dotted. Now, this shows a couple of lines here, some embellishment here. So the sketches are really for you to decide what you want to do with them. You don't have to copy every single thing on it. But let's look at what we can do. I think I'm going to go ahead and stick this down. Now, I'm going back and forth about whether I want to go to the outside edges on this or whether I want to pull it in. I think just because of the border, I'm going to keep it all on the outside edges. And I've got all this scrap paper that I can still play with. My border maker system is still handy. So let's go ahead and stick everything really quickly. So one side of that is actually pretty much complete in a very short amount of time. Didn't take us very long, even with having to decide what we're using and things like that. Now, if I wanted to go back and finish this one out, I would pull out the coordinating stickers that go with this collection. And I haven't really looked at these yet to decide what I wanted to use, but let's just look. So on here, there are a couple of stripes, embellishments here and here, and a couple of stripes here. So let's see if we've got stickers that are even in the shapes of those stripes. Oh yeah, because we've got this that's really cute. Lots to love, life is awesome, perfection, thankful. I mean, any of these would be great. And when I look at this, I'm looking at my scrap up here thinking, oh, how cute would that be? So I think I'm going to cut a 5.5 inch piece to go there. Just to make that top part a little bit brighter maybe. I'm going to stick that because I really like that. I don't know how many of you have been scrapbooking a long time, but I started with Creative Memories in 1997. And at that point in time, I would have never mixed so many patterns on a page. It probably would have given me hives. But look at this. We've got this stripe along here. And then I can go back and pull this Life is Awesome. And even if I do a title or some journaling there, I've still got plenty of room. Now, if you know me at all, you know I'm pulling out the foam squares because I want that title to stand up. I wonder how many of you have gotten the new foam squares, the new multi-sized foam squares. I got some in, but I'm trying to finish up an older pack before I break out the new one. All right, I love that. Now, we do have some room here and here definitely to put some more, and I'm thinking I really like these circular shapes. What about this cute little tag right here? Maybe take it right up to the top like it's hanging here. And I'm not going to foam square that because I think I may go back and pull this wow, and it fits beautifully in the middle of that. And I'll foam square the wow. Okay, and then let's take something else down to the bottom. Hello, love. Choose happy. There are so many cute ones on these. For somebody who doesn't really like orange, this is a really good pack. Oh, look, this is it for my grandbaby. You're terrific. That's exactly how I feel about that, sweetie. I know those of you with grandkids would probably say the same thing. And look, we could bring that shape down again. We've got the circle up there. Let's bring a circle down here. But then I'm going to foam square this little banner. and put it right across there. All right. Now, for all practical purposes, I would call this page complete until I decide if I want to journal here or maybe make another title. But it doesn't even bother me just to have it like that because we've got so much pattern going on there. So let's move these stickers and look at how we can make the coordinating page to go with this. Now, in making the coordinating page, a lot of times my thought would be, okay, we just do it exactly the same way. We just cut everything the same. But the one thing I'm looking at to carry the look across, you know, I want to mimic the patterns. I want to mimic the background paper. I do want to use a lot of the same elements, but I'm thinking on this side, instead of the 5.5 mats here and here, I'll do it here and here. So let's go ahead and cut 2 of those. Now this is pulling out that pumpkin and white dot again, and we're gonna cut 5.5 by 7. And we'll go ahead and cut both of those while we've got the trimmer out. And we're also gonna need this print. You know what, we may not need this much print, but we'll see. We gotta use it somewhere. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut it the 5.5 width anyway. So we're not even really copying the sketch any longer, but somehow we need to make our looks coordinate. So I'm gonna add that one there. I'm gonna bring this here. I just love this picture. My husband goes walking every day, and I mean, I was excited to get the picture, but she ran out on the porch to be able to tell him bye when he was going walking, and I thought that was so sweet. But obviously, I chopped his head off. So we've got this one and this one. Now, these I think we can make a little bit smaller, and that's what I'm planning to do with them. She was just sitting up on her play set having a hi-ho time here. And I really liked it because her little concentration on her face was just so sweet. So I can go pretty small with that. And here she was climbing up to get ready to slide down. And I can cut out a lot of this. I don't know if y'all are like me, but I just think everything she does is great. So I take lots of pictures. Now, we might still have room for a little onesie in here, and that's kind of what I'm hoping for anyway. I'm just going to go ahead and stick that down. Stick this one down. What are you thinking about the color choices? I'm going to cut this a little bit bigger than 4. Just so I can get that picture in. And as I'm looking, I don't really see that there's going to be a lot of space there for a onesie unless I cut this picture down a little bit and go back and cut down this little mat that I already stuck down. And I think that's going to work. Unless my tape is showing over the top of my mat, which could also be the case. All right, looky there. So far, so good. That gives us room for some onesies right there. And let's figure out this last little bit right here. Now, this one I really can't cut. I mean, I've already messed up my husband's head anyway, but I don't want to cut off any more here. So we may just not have a onesie down here. Let's make this just a little bit larger than our picture. And we can't go very big because we just don't have a lot of extra space down there. And I'm okay if we don't add blue through there, but we might be able to make it work. What do y'all think? I just keep chopping a little bit here and there. I know for some of you it's probably giving you all kinds of anxiety that I just keep chopping a little bit, but that's what I do. remember for the matting, I'm just using this little dot paper that we used here. And you really don't see the dots much on it, but it seems to work. We're still pretty close on that. I don't think we're going to get a onesie in there without doing some more trimming. And even though I don't want to cut down the picture, could cut down the mat just a little bit more. Probably why I should not have taped this until I had it all figured out, right? All right, so we've cut down that mat just a little bit more, just to give us a little more space. And now I think we're in business, people. All right, let's go ahead and stick this mat at the top, because we had already figured out we've got room up there for the little border maker. And we're gonna mat, let's see, these two are gonna be matted in the blue. We're also gonna do our border out of that. And then this one is gonna be matted in some of this little leftover dot. Now you remember over here, we used some of the leftover dot to make a line down this side. I could kind of mimic that by putting a line here, but I don't want the same design on the same space on the top and the top on both sides. So I think I'm gonna scoot this over just a touch. And put it right here. And then cut just a thin line of that dotted, or find a thin line of that dotted and put it right there. That just brings my dot out again, which I really like. It does cover up a lot of this orange dot here, but I'm okay with that too. And then I'll trim that with my trimmer in just a minute. So we have a little bit of blue paper left here. Remember, I pre-cut a mat, and I did make a little cut there that I didn't mean to cut, but it's not going to show. It's okay. I'm certainly not going to waste a whole mat just because I made a little accidental cut there. If anybody ever went through my books very, very carefully, they would see all these mistakes in there, but they don't. We are our worst critics. I hope you know that. And we need to get over being critical of our work. I just try to think often about how sweet it is that we can do this. Our kids, our grandkids have albums. So many kids have never seen a picture of themselves in a pretty way. And, you know, our kids take it for granted sometimes, but that's okay. I love doing this. So we've got those matted. Let's go ahead and stick this one down. These little dots are great. They help me eyeball this a lot better than if I had just done it without measuring. All right, so our two-page spread has really taken shape. I am going to pull my trimmer and cut the bottom of that off just a little bit. And then we'll be ready to do some embellishing and finish this up. We need to make our little onesies that match these to go there and there. So let's pull our border maker. It's gotten buried under all my trash behind my desk. Oh, I don't want to cut through that little heart one because I think that's so cute. So I'm going to flip it this way and cut through a plain one. Let's go back to the silicone mat and the repositionable tape. Now I want this piece of one going off there, and then I want the other piece of one going off here. So I had to be mindful that I did those the right direction to make that work. Okay, almost done. All right, so do you see anything else we need besides maybe a few more stickers? So we've got stickers here, stickers here. I'm thinking I want something there to go ahead and cover up my mistake. And Oh my goodness, there are so many to choose from. I really don't necessarily want more words, but I could put this little flower here. Look at that, that's pretty cute, because I've got some extra space. So what if we do this? And then we could put the flower in the middle, or maybe I do want more words. What do y'all think? Maybe just that little circle there to bring out some more of the lighter color. I like that, but then I'm almost thinking it needs a little something else. Maybe the star. Yeah, that's a nice little embellishment right there. And I just put the foam squares on the middle layer there. So this draws our eye automatically across the page, so we see all the pretty stuff going on. And I think we're going to call this layout completed. Now, this was a sketch challenge, and I want you to understand that sketches do not have to be intimidating. I hope that when you look at a sketch, you'll immediately in your mind start thinking, oh, I could do this, and I can do this, and this will be easy. And you'll try some of these sketch challenges. You will end up with some really cute pages that I think you'll really enjoy. Now, I'm going to tell you one thing that's really bugging me. Right now, it's bugging me that these go off the side right here. So what could we do to fix that? Well, I wouldn't mind throwing in a little more blue. So with this little scrap I have left over, I'm just going to try something. I'm going to cut about 1/4 of an inch. That's going to be a really thin little strip. And I'm going to try a couple of these and see what it looks like. And if we don't like it, we'll take it right back off. But I'm almost feeling like I want to close this in right here. And I do think I like that. Now, all my stuff is not exactly even. I'm going to have to finagle that. But I'm going to go ahead and do these little strips. These are little 1/4 inch strips. And I'm going to add them to this layout. So, as this video ends, you are going to see the completed page. Hopefully you learned something new, and you will try some sketches in the future. Creative Memories puts out lots every month, and you can find them on the Creative Memories blog. I share a lot of them on my Facebook page, and you shouldn't be intimidated by them. You should give them a shot. So, I'll tape this down, and you'll see the completed layout in a minute. Until I see you next time, happy scrapping.